But also, what comes with a new coordinator is like we get a new coordinator, and you want to know why? Because we also have a new schedule on the horizon, man. And the ACC has now officially shared its new 9-game conference schedule. For those who don't know, they're going to roll out this new conference schedule. It's going to be a modified version here in 2026, and then the full 9-game slate is going to occur starting in 2027. So here's the deal. And I want your thoughts on this. So for the 2026 season, 12 of the 17 schools in the ACC, they need to bring in some youth to
go to staff.
Facts.
I can agree with that.
Big fact.
And not family members. Not family
that part.
Members.
Not family members. 100%. So for the 26th season, 12 of the 17 schools in the ACC will play 9 conference games. 5 of those,
just look at this article too.
Yeah, 5 will not. Those 5 being Clemson, Georgia Tech, Florida State, North Carolina, and Boston College. They're going to play 8 conference games because each of these teams are going to have multiple Power 4 opponents outside of the conference already on the schedule. The 2027 season, every team except one is going to play 9 conference games. One team will play 8, and it's going to rotate every year because there's an odd number. There's an odd number of teams in the ACC at 17. And so with it, this is how the scheduling goes. Each team is going to play 9 conference games. Each team is going to play at least 10 games versus a Power 4 competition. 9 obviously your conference, and then that one non-conference game being a Power 4 school. For the team that has to play 8 that year, they're going to play 8 conference games and 2 Power 4 schools on their schedule.
So something that I've realized that I've noticed. So, TS coming in this order.
I got that in here too. We'll talk
about that. We'll talk about that in a bit. But what I've noticed recently, because the SEC is rolling out a 9-game conference season this upcoming season.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody in the SEC is playing 9 conference games next year. And I've started noticing that it looks like that's going to be the format for a lot of conferences going into it now. Because as you see, the ACC's starting to roll her out with a transitional year. When honestly, just do the thing. Because you already got most of the conference doing 9-game schedule.
The only reason they did it is because the only reason they didn't do it is because they already got the schedule. That's the reason why the 26 schedule is already set. So if that was the case, I'm kind of like you. I would say if everybody can't do it, let's just go ahead and save it for 27.
You might as well just say it. But then again, I don't have a problem with the transitional year either, because at least with that, you got most of your teams are doing it. So you're already kind of
where the bugs are. And you can see where the bugs are.
You can fix some stuff here and there. I'm cool with that. Because like I said, the SEC, they got rid of the divisions, so there's not an East or a West anymore. It's just SEC flat out. So whoever is top of the ACC first and second are going to be SEC championship contenders at the end of the year. Point blank, period. With this, I think it's going to help ACC as well, because you ain't got to worry about an East or a West. But then again, ACC got rid of that, 2 years ago?
Yeah, they got rid of that. They got rid of Coastal and Atlanta 4 years ago.
So yeah, no, they got rid of it a while back. So now, even with just like the ACC, whoever's at top of the ACC that's it, point blank, period. I'm waiting on Big 10 and Big 12 to do it, so that way everybody can just stop complaining.
Pac-2, go ahead. Split your 2.
Well, no, because remember the Pac got they
all
the
Mountain
teams.
They got all the Mountain West teams. They got all the old Mountain West teams. So they might be bad. But here's the other thing. So tiebreakers for this new scheduling, they're going to adjust those as well. And kind of try and fix it, especially because of how this year ended up finishing with 5 teams being tied for second, and Duke ended up going to the ACC title game, which they ended up winning, crazy enough. That still is a bitter taste in my mouth to say.
It still should have been Miami and SMU, but whatever.
Right.
Or Miami
whatever.
And Virginia, but whatever.
It's like, so I think this is to help mitigate that. And then Notre Dame, The ACC remains contractually tied with Notre Dame as well, playing 5 non-conference games per year against the Fighting Irish. So right now, contractually, they have to play 5 games versus Notre Dame, which is I'm like, go ahead and put them in the conference.
So about that. So, went through our comments, saw some opinions on this. Saw some opinions. And
there were some salty people on what we were
there were a few salty people because one person was talking about like we're the only ones complaining, we're the only ones crying about it, blah, blah, blah. One, we're not crying about Notre Dame not playing. Because at the end of the day, if it was a player decision that they're not going to play, cool, whatever, the players decided y'all not going to play. The problem we had with the situation was, one, we just saw this happen with Florida State a couple of years ago. And Florida State got embarrassed, and Florida State ain't been the same since. But what we want to say is, because one, we also agree that Notre Dame should have been in over Alabama, in my opinion. And I agree with that, because I think somebody else had pointed out that Notre Dame's real problem wasn't with Miami getting in. It was the fact that Alabama got in.
I'm going to say this.
And I'm like, that's not even it. Their problem was the ACC apparently ran a smear campaign that cost them getting into the playoff, which ACC,
Here's my thing. But I don't think the ACC is dirty for it because, like you and I both said, one, Notre Dame's not in the conference. Notre Dame's not in the conference. What do I look like promoting somebody that's not in my conference to a spot over my conference for my conference team? Two,
right.
I'm gonna say this about the whole Alabama thing and Notre Dame. I see why everybody says Notre Dame should have got in over Alabama. The issue, this coming from a guy who was an advocate for Notre Dame last year, and he'll tell you that until they got demolished. That's the reason why they didn't put Notre Dame. That's one of the reasons why they didn't put Notre Dame in this year over Alabama. Because of how Notre Dame showed up in that title game versus Ohio State, they're not trying to have that again. They need Notre Dame to have a clear cut, we really went through some comp and did this. Alabama got in off name alone. If I'm being honest, I'm keeping it a buck.
That's it.
Alabama got in off name alone the same way Ohio State would get pushed. If Ohio State was in the same position, Ohio State would have got pushed in over Notre Dame the same way Alabama got pushed in over Notre Dame.
Now to Notre Dame's defense, I guess I would say, to Notre Dame's defense, I get that it was kind of messed up that the ACC literally ran that Notre Dame Miami game for like 2 weeks straight. It played all day long, every day for like 2 weeks straight. I don't think you had to do all that. But once again, why would I promote a team that's not in our division against a team that is in our conference? Like, what if they're in our conference? Why would I not want to push my own team? Now, to somebody else's argument on here was the ACC scheduled Notre Dame against scrubs of their conference. That's the problem. Notre Dame asked to play Miami, Florida State, and Clemson every year. The ACC wouldn't do it, so Clemson and Notre Dame made a 10-year agreement behind the ACC's back. And it said, secondly, go check Notre Dame's 27-28 schedule before you make assumptions and look stupid. Okay, so I'm looking at Notre Dame's 27-28 schedule. 27. The best teams that they have scheduled for 2027 as of right now is Auburn, Georgia Tech, and Clemson. That's the same thing I promote saying. So I promote the conference.
Wait. Yeah. You said the best. Hold up. You said the 27 schedule, they best teams are Auburn, Georgia Tech, and Clemson?
So right now, out of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 game schedule, looks like. 9 teams so far. The best 3 teams that they're playing is Auburn, Georgia Tech, and Clemson. The rest of their schedule goes as such.
I would put V Tech over. Depending on where VTech is with the Penn State coach, I put VTech in there.
Well, like I said, we'll see next year before. Because like I said, this is just going based off of what we know as teams right now.
28. So, it's Texas,
Clemson, Auburn, Clemson, and Miami,
and
Pitt. So 28, they got a bit of a tougher schedule than 28. Because Arkansas is the worst ACC team right now.
Here's my thing, and what they don't realize. Here's the other thing. And this scheduling, crazy as it's kept, is actually going to, you know who is going to benefit the most for the ACC, as crazy as it's kept? It's going to benefit flipping Clemson. Yeah, you want to know why? Clemson. Here's the thing. As bro just said, Clemson has that 10-year deal with Notre Dame, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got 9 conference games.
So the teams Notre Dame plays outside the ACC are trash. 9 times out of 10.
Listen, they got a 10-year contract that's already contractually obligated, so you got to fulfill that. 9 conference games. Then they got to go find another Power 4 because there's no guarantee. They got to go find another Power 4 because Notre Dame does not play in a conference. So Clemson, if they get back to the ways of old, that's 11 and let's just say they run that schedule right there. That's 11-0 versus all FBS power conference opponents. Like actually power four conferences. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's a easy, even if they go 11-2 or 11-1, that's guaranteeing them almost a spot. Shoot, North Carolina, if you go and get a game with Notre Dame and then run the table in the conference, you could be in this position at 10-0 or 11-0.
But let's see here.
And for those of you who are
curious, there's a lot of opinions on these bowl games here. Whole lot of opinions.
And for those of you who are curious,
and then there's one against Jordan, but we're not. There's one against just Bill as a coach, but we're gonna go get into that. Because one of them says bowl games are meaningless; they'll go away very soon. Bowl games are meaningless now. One dude said, "What is the point of bowl games if every decent team makes the playoffs? Most have always been irrelevant. I hope so many 5 to 7 teams opt out. You have 4 and 8 teams in the CarQuest and Weed Eater Bowl, and however low on the food chain corporate sponsored bowls go." To which somebody responded, "You have to have 6 wins to be eligible. There wouldn't be games if enough people opt out. These people are so selfish. What about the players? What about their families, friends? Players get to play on these types of stages. Their families and friends get to watch them on these stages. Coaches acting like spoiled children that didn't get their way. Not one thought about the players and their families." Then another dude was coming in talking about the beef was with Alabama, not with Miami. Says not that Miami didn't get in. Bowl games are meaningless exhibition games anyway. Why risk the injuries? Because Cade Klubnik decided he's going to play.
Yeah, Cade's going to play.
Because here's the thing. So
it's a good pro day too.
Exactly. And the other thing is, my thing with these bowl games are, yes, I get why risk the injury. I understand that. I do. Especially if you know generally, especially if you're a senior going into the draft and you already know your draft stock is good. Okay, I can see you wanting to sit out a bowl game. I can get that. But if you want to improve your draft stock or improve the probability of you getting drafted at all, the bowl games are for that. The bowl games are for you to be able to roll out your second, third, and fourth string guys, whoever your new starting quarterback is going to be, whoever your new starting this and new starting that's going to be for next year to see what they look like. It's basically like a glorified practice game, essentially, or a glorified warm-up game. So it's like,
I have a different
approach. Y'all got to understand. So y'all got to understand, like, there's uses for these bowl games. Are there too many of them? Absolutely. Are there too many of these dumb corporate sponsored games? Absolutely. Can like 8 of these get cut out? Absolutely. We don't need all of these bowl games, especially if it's gotten to the point where 5 and 7 and 4 and 8 teams are getting brought into bowl games for when you're supposed to have 6 games to even qualify. So I don't understand I don't understand why we're doing what we're doing the way we're doing it now.
I have a different approach to it.
Only 12 teams are getting into the playoff. Only 12. So out of the 136 teams, only 12 are making it to the playoffs. So you're telling me there's not enough 6-win teams throughout the rest of the nation to put in these bowl games? And if there aren't, then you have a bigger problem, a much bigger problem.
So I have a different approach about it. One, about the bowl games and playing in them in it.
So Notre Dame plays Clemson, Florida State, and Miami this year. It wouldn't have been that impressive.
They might have against Clemson.
I mean, Florida State, yeah, Clemson and Florida State, no.
Miami, they would have probably got dog walked.
Well, they lost to Miami.
Oh, yeah. Well, see what I mean. Hey, they played that game. My fault.
Yeah, they played that game hard. Yeah, if they had played all three, people wouldn't have been impressed because Clemson was bad this year. Florida State started good, but ended up being bad.
Here's my stance about it all. And here's where I stand in regards to playing in a bowl game. To me, yeah, it's a great pro day. Glorified practice, do what you got to do, gets you ready for the next season. You can get your new freshman, your new sophomore, get them some reps, so on and so forth. To me, if you are a senior going into the draft, this playing in a bowl game, a quote-unquote meaningless game, shows an intangible about yourself that a lot of coaches and GMs will love. And that intangible being you are going to play until you can't no more, and you are going to make sure that you are always going to go out and win. Every coach loves a player that they have to tell to sit down. They don't love a player they have to tell, hey, yo, we need you in this game. Get up and go get in this game. That's the reason why Anthony Richardson's got so much flack for what he's been going through. You don't want to have to tell a player to go show.
After that moment, you took yourself out of the game because you were tired as a quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't want to have to sit there and be like, oh, yeah, I'm a great team player. I'll play any game. If you sit there and tell a GM or whatever, I'll play any game, I'll sacrifice whatever I can, and they go back and be like, okay, so why didn't you play in this bowl game? Now you can't sit there and say you will play any game because you've already shown you value yourself over the team. And don't get it twisted. I'm not sitting there saying sell yourself out, because we know once you get to the NFL and it's really a business, we know you got to protect yourself and do what you got to do. We understand the business acumen. Get your money, do what you got to do. Please do not get my words twisted. What I'm saying is you can hurt your stock. You can hurt your image to these coaches and these general managers by not playing in that game, because you are telling them you already care about yourself more than the team. You don't care what the team's going on. And it's one of those nuances where you have to play the game. And by play the game, I'm talking the mental game. You have to play the finesse game of, like, even if you're just like, listen, I'm just trying to get to the NFL, get paid, take care of my family. Even if I only plan on playing in the NFL 5, 6, 7 years. I gotta play the part, and I gotta show what I gotta do, that I'm willing to do all this, even if that's not my full end goal. Even if my end goal is to do X, Y, and Z. But not playing in that bowl game can change that up, because now it's like, man, I don't know if I want you. Man, I don't know. We've seen what they'll do for a guy that has the talent, but they think has a bad attitude. Shador, Lamar, Denard Robinson,
We can go more recent than
Tim
that.
Tebow.
No, we can do even worse. Well, Tim Tebow was more like, you got a good player that's a good leader, but is he a quarterback?
But that's what I'm saying. When you have a player that doesn't fit the mold or bucks what those general managers want of them, it can hurt you. The same thing with Lamar Jackson. Remember how they were all saying, oh, you need to play a different position. You're not a quarterback. Like, you need to be a receiver. And he's like, no, I'm a quarterback. Man fell to 32. When we all know there weren't 32 players better than Lamar.
Not at the time, for sure.
Not at the
And
time.
tell you the truth,